Referee is Don Koharski, the linesman tonight, Shane Heyer and Jay Scherers. And a look at the matchup, the offense against the defense, that's what this one's going to be all about.
It looked great a couple months ago when they had everybody in their lineup as far as Washington. It's still a great lineup because of the system the Washington Capitals play.
Now we will see that Cap forechecking system right off the bat as the Caps set the face-off into the Pittsburgh zone. The goaltenders tonight, and a good hustle play by Pittsburgh avoids the icing and play back out at center. Jim Carey and Tom Barrasso, a battle of Massachusetts native goaltenders. We'll get a chance to look at them. Yager, Francis, keying this top line, and it's amazing. The top line for Pittsburgh is the one without Mario Lemieux. Yager battling behind the net with Sergei Gonchar, came right out in front, and Pittsburgh unable to get an opportunity for it. Sergei Zubov for the Penguins, throws right back in.
This is probably going to be the matchup that Washington's going to look for, and that's what their best defenseman, Tenorti, out there against Yager, or whatever they perceive as the big line of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Interesting, some of the comments in the papers, EJ wanting more production out of his third line. Poor Shoney.
I got a pretty good giggle out of Schoenfeld this morning.
J.J. Daniel, one of the trade deadline additions for Pittsburgh, has helped to solidify the defense. Takes the hit, pucks it in. Dmitry Mironov up for Pittsburgh, trying to clear, able to do so. And there's 66. First playoff game for Mario Lemieux in 2 years. Of course, he sat out all of last season. Sent into the Washington zone. The Capitals move it out ahead to center. Here's Mironov. Fanned on it, now taken away from him. But his defense mate is back to cover up for him. And the Penguins spin inside their own zone. Mironov and Daniel, the defensive pairing. Murray is out with Lemieux. And they'll get a change, and that shot kicked out of play and into the crowd. The 85th playoff game of Tom Barrasso's career, tying him for 5th on the all-time active list. 11th overall all-time for Tom Barrasso in the battle of Massachusetts natives down at each goal. Boy, a lot more pressure on Carey than there is Barrasso. Here's Brian Smolinski breaking in across the Washington line. He's pinned up against the boards. Glenn Murray comes over to help out, along with Kevin Miller, who has been reduced to the third line to try to pump some offense into this third unit for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Chris Taymor has a lane and fires. Save Carey. He's in the game. And now a shot from Neil Wilkinson, another stop. The play is pinned inside the Pittsburgh zone. Giveaway, Taymor, one-timer from the side of the net goes wide. Wilkinson trying to keep in, does so, and they force it deeper. Here's Murray back to the cage, leaves for Smolinski, throws in front, eagles the big check, the puck came free, and Washington able to clear.
You can see how Washington likes to collapse in front of their goaltender. They feel they can give out that outside shot on Jim Carey, and they'll stop it all night long. He's good from long range. They don't want to give up second opportunities.
Joey Juneau trying to clear the puck. Yager has. Peter Nedved. And the Penguins lead 1-0.
Well, just like I said, they want to keep him to the outside and let him shoot. Oh, what a wrist shot by Peter Nedved. A couple of happening Czechoslovakians on this one. Check this out. Yager does all the work in front and drops him. Watch the wrist shot. Bang! That was off his stick in a hurry. And I'm not sure that Carey picked it up right away. This guy had a career year this year. 45 goals for Peter Nedved. And he has the first in the postseason and gets the Penguins up 1-0.
Peter Nedved, who has been through some rough times, let alone his personal life and defecting, but in the NHL. Now he's again! His life is getting better every second. Peter Nedved, 2-0 Penguins.
Well, he didn't even get a chance to announce the first goal before the second pill was past Carey. Oh, I think he's a little pumped up for this one. Man, oh man, lightning quick, both of these. Again, Yager creating some space, and then just a wrist shot, a bad miscue by Jim Carey, trying to do a little too much as a goaltender. You don't want to go back up the middle of the ice. You want to go to the wall with the puck, especially first game of the playoffs in somebody else's building. A mistake and it cost him.
Razor, I know it's early. How about a timeout, Washington?
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea at all. You got to stop the bleeding. You saw what happened last night in Philadelphia when they came out and bowled over Tampa Bay in the first couple of minutes. Koharski's going to go over and tell Schoenfeld to hurry things up a little bit. He just wants to get a break, and I think he did exactly what you said.
It makes all the sense in the world. Could not have been a worse start for a young goaltender like Jim Carey and the Capitals, who thrive on defense, to get behind 2-0 so early.
This club gave up an awful lot of goals this year on first opportunities. At one point, I believe they'd given up first shots for goals in 11 games. And we all know what Jim Carey did last year in the playoffs. He couldn't live up to the expectations from the regular season. This is a rough start for him. He was so low-key this morning. He was talking to the media. You know, he seemed very relaxed in that. And then all of a sudden your world gets turned around in a matter of about 10 seconds.
It is 2-0. We've played 3 minutes and 4 seconds. Here's the accounting. Nedved, his first from Yager at 2:53. And then Nedved unassisted at 3:04. 2 goals within 11 seconds. And the Penguins have opened this one up early, 2-0. We'll see how Washington counters. They just try to get out of the zone, and they do. It's a 3-on-2 for the Capitals. See if they get any offensive pressure. Here's Pavanka throwing to the side of net. Barrasso cut that off before it could get to Peter Bondra, the main offensive threat. The 4th leading goal scorer this past season in the NHL, Peter Bondra. J.J. Daigneault has behind the net with Pavanka in front of him, and Daigneault unable to click on the pass from Mario. And it will go deep into the Washington zone. Lemieux gets to it first, and a neat play to center, but no one there for Pittsburgh. And the Capitals come back out the other way. Here's Bondra one-on-one with Chris Tamer. Pulls up, waits for some help. Stefan Ustorf coming late. Never got it through. Is blocked neatly by Kevin Miller. And the Penguins clear into the Capital bench.
Yeah, I take another look at the goal, and I think a little nervousness probably from Jim Carey, young goaltender. Tried to go up through the middle with this thing and fanned on it. And it went right on the stick of Nedved. It wasn't how hard the shot was. It was just that he got it off in a hurry.
It is not an NHL record, the 11 seconds, but the fastest, it is the record for the Penguins. The previous fastest 2 goals by one Penguin player in the playoffs, 1.5 minutes. Mario Lemieux against the Flyers, April 25th of 1989. So congratulations, Peter Nedved. You just took Mario out of the playoff record here.
Oh, he's got enough of them, man. I don't think that'll matter.
Sent back into the Capital zone. Stefan Ustorf for Washington in their road blue uniforms. Pittsburgh has come out storming early. There's Carey. Boy, the easiest save at this point is a confidence save, right?
Yeah, he's been very good, though, all season long. They've given up an awful lot of early goals and bounced back. They led the league as far as comebacks in the 3rd period. So they're a club that settles themselves down a little bit. Whether they can do it with so many veterans and so many key people out of their lineup is another thing.
Tom Barrasso flicks it around the glass, and Pittsburgh, man, they come out so easily. Here's Jaromir Jagr, has Nedved with him. We're less than 5 minutes into the game, and Nedved is looking for the hat trick. Here's Sergei Gonchar off for Dale Hunter. Hunter's a guy who can settle the troops. Francois Leroux takes his man down, and Sergei Zubov comes by to scoop up the puck. Here's Zubov at center, and across the line. Carey got the pad on that, but it was offside at the Washington blue line.
Well, it's going to be a physical series. I don't think anybody thinks otherwise coming into this. And you'd expect it to be the Capitals on the Penguins, but Jaromir Jagr is so big. Look at a little taste of the glass for Mark Tenorti in behind. Just finish your man, and that's what I love about playoffs. Everybody takes that extra step to make sure they eliminate their people, their players, out of the play. Don't let them jump back in again. In the regular season, a lot of times there'd be a little snow thrown around there.
Jaromir Jagr has to settle for being 2nd in the league this year in goals and in points, only because he plays, with Mario Lemieux. It's kind of unfair. Not only can he lead the league, he can even lead his own team in scoring.
I don't think that's a bad thing, though. He's got an awful lot of respect for Mario Lemieux, and I'm sure he was just kind of in the back of his mind hoping for a tie.
You said it, you put it back, the two-headed monster. Here's Nedved, just a step over looking to break. Man, he's got some jump in his step. Nedved is a great story this year. I think he had a reputation throughout the league as being a soft player. Guy who could only play in the Western Conference, and when it came time to the tough time in the East, wouldn't survive. And as you mentioned, a career season here in the East.
Yeah, he had all kinds of problems with the Rangers last year, with Coley Campbell, with Mark Messier out there. Came here, and it's funny how when you have a buddy, when you have a friend, and especially European players, I'm sure when he came here, and all of a sudden he's got Jaromir Jagr to pal around with, feels a little more comfortable. The style of play that they play is more suited for him, and he's taken off, like you said.
Think he might command a pretty penny after this season? A free agent, a restricted free agent coming up after this season. I imagine Fred Patrick and the brain trust of the Penguins will be looking to sign Peter Nedved, who has really turned that trade with the Rangers in what a lot of people thought was heavily favored towards New York to a shambles of a deal for New York and really heavily favoring Pittsburgh. Back out at center ice, and here's Nedved. Man, he's got that step tonight. On Gonchar, trying to beat him one-on-one. Gonchar took him down. And the Capitals will try to move out ahead. Here's Joey Juneau across the line. Juneau with Kelly Miller, not to be confused with brother Kevin, who is in the Pittsburgh lineup. Jim Johnson keeps in, throws back of the net. Juneau there. They battle for it. Comes up the near side, and the Penguins clear. Sylvain Cote, one of the few healthy regulars on that blue line for Washington. He, along with Mark Tenorti, will see tons of ice time tonight. Here's Mario Lemieux trying to break free. Tomas Sandstrom returning. Sandstrom had missed 24 of the last 25 games. Here's Cote's shot, and Barrasso got a piece to steer it to the corner. Kept in by Kevin Kaminsky. Throws it towards the front of the net. Bondra backhand saved by Barrasso. First decent opportunity for Washington, and Barrasso smothers it.
Yeah, and it's not the guy you want if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins, all alone off the far side on your goaltender. And Peter Bondra, lucky for them, he was on his backhand. Really didn't get much in the way of wood, I don't think, on this thing. The guy that had 52 goals this year, and watch him off the far side, right there. Bobbling puck, and really didn't get much on it. And Barrasso did a nice job of falling down.
Peter Bondra and Michael Pavanka, they say, all the Capital forwards play the same way, except for those two. The other forwards are those hard-working, grind-it-out kind of guys, and Pavanka and Bondra seem to play more of a finesse game, and it's worked for them. Bit of a change of pace back out at center into the Washington zone. Sylvain Cote is back for it. He's on with Jim Johnson. Bondra, Pavanka, and Juneau. Actually, Kaminsky is playing with him, nicknamed Killer. Barry Melrose's favorite player in the National Hockey League. Out at center. Pittsburgh will throw right back in. Now the Caps trying to get a break, and here's Bondra. He's got Kaminsky with him. It's a 2-on-1. Trying to get it across to Kaminsky. Broken up nicely by Tamer along the ice. Rolls to the front of the net. Thomas Sandstrom for Pittsburgh. Off for Tamer. Trying to hit Lemieux. Pittsburgh will go for a change. Washington will go back and get it. 12:27 to go in this first. Penguins a 2-0 lead. Here's Kevin Miller. On his backhand. Couldn't find anybody, and the Caps take over. Hunter is hit hard by Miller, prompting the roar from the crowd. Miller looking for Smolinski. They can't connect on the pass. Playing the neutral zone. Brian Smolinski, the former Boston Bruin, just changed teams. Didn't have to change his colors. Still in the black and gold now, the Pittsburgh Penguins. Hunter trying to force the issue back of the net. They try to set it up. Jeff Nelson couldn't handle, and the puck came free. Pittsburgh back at center. They'll flip in.
It's wonderful how patient you can be when you get up 2-0, isn't it? You don't see them forcing all that much. They're making the right plays in their own zone, taking their time in the neutral zone. Usually this is a club that gets a little impatient when they don't score right away. Well, that wasn't a problem tonight.
Here's Francis. Behind the back, spin around at Jaromir, who couldn't get the shot off. Would have been a neat setup for Pittsburgh. The Caps go for a change. Francis now for the Pens, off for Zubov. He fires in. Carey will play the carom. Things have settled down for Washington. But Shoney would take getting out of the first period, just down 2-0, and go from there.
Well, it was a pretty heads-up timeout by him, and nice call by you. settle things down a little bit.
It'll work out fine here at ESPN too, I think. You say all the right things. Sent inside the Washington zone. Gonchar flips up along the glass, kept in by Francois Leroux, but Nelson picks it off. And rather, Pat Peak off for Gonchar. And here's Gonchar across the line. Dipsy doodling a bit, checked by Nedved in his own zone. Good back check by Peter Nedved. Juneau for Washington. Throw it off Peak's skate as Peak was heading for a change. Pat Peak, one of 8 injured frontline players for Washington they weren't expecting to have. Peak is the only one returning in time for tonight's game.
There's some talk that there might be a few more near the end of the series if it goes, 6 or 7 games, something like that, but they're not going to get any help in the first 4.
Pittsburgh turn off the turnover. Sandstrom leads from Mario, trying to do it up the side of the net as he often does. Brad Lauer on this line as well. The idea being Lauer was going to check Peter Bondra. We watch for that matchup. Pavanka couldn't reach it. Brad Lauer gets to the loose puck. Lauer throws out at center, looking for Mario. Lemieux takes it out of his skates. He throws in a little deeper. Caps able to get to it. Michael Pavanka breaks out with Ustorf breaking towards the net. Now behind the cage. He's checked by Wilkinson. Bondra couldn't get to it. Tamer does. And it's flipped out of the zone. He played by Pavanka to stay onside, and it worked. Leaves Ustorf there. On the backhand, his shot is deflected by Barrasso. Barrasso thought it was under him.
Well, the Penguins' defense has been under a lot of heat about not being up to par, but a lot of them have taken it personally. Look at Tamer come across, take the pass away. They're young, they're inexperienced, yes, but they've got something to prove, and sometimes that's a little bit dangerous.
On the Caps side, we've played half of the first period. 2 real scoring chances, both by Bondra. They're going to need some help from somebody else on the offense.
Yeah, they really need a hero. Ustorf walked in on the wing there. They need somebody like him or Hunter, who's always a good playoff player, to step up and score some big goals for him.
Shot from the angle is held onto by Carey. We'll take a closer look at Eric Sharon. You see number 28 for Washington. One of the young members of this defense. Steve Pop's out there as well. There's a look at Sharon. Not a whole lot of experience, and you see the numbers facing Mario and Jaromir.
He was a pretty highly thought of when he came out of the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. He was a first-round draft pick of Montreal back in '88. He's bounced around the minors a little bit. They expect big things out of him. Jim Schoenfeld said it this morning. They were going to put the jersey on tonight. They're Washington Capital players in the National Hockey League. That's how I expect them to play.
Back out at center. Caps trying to get a rush. Pat Peak couldn't get to it, and Smolinski does for Pittsburgh, trying to beat his man one-on-one, but he was cut off nicely by Steve Pops, another one of the youngsters we were just talking about. Eagles misses his hit on Moranov. Carey leaves there. Back for Pops. It's P-O-A-P-S-T. We're going with Pops. That's what I was told.
It's as bad as Ray.
Doing the best I can, yeah. I thought I was working with Darryl Ray. I thought I was getting the former Jets free safety. And I thought it was a different Darryl Ray. Here's a chance for the Capitals. They break in there. Shot by Barrasso on Gonchar. Here's Nedved the other way. Off for Jágr, trying to dipsy-doodle. Ron Francis gets to the loose puck. Back for Zubov. Wanted to crank. Goes cross-ice Leroux. Little snapper couldn't get it on goal. First one was blocked by Todd Krieger. And it's sent deeper inside the Washington zone. Here's Jágr trying to break free. It's picked off by Hunter, and the Caps clear to center. Leroux right back in. A delayed offside, but Pittsburgh will clear the zone. And the Caps move out. 7.5 to go. In this first period, the Penguins score with a 2-0 lead. Washington now down, starting to pick up the play and get some chances.
Yeah, they're getting their chances, and Tommy Barrasso is standing tall right now. They've settled themselves down, and it looks a little bit confusing in the neutral zone. That's good if you're a Washington Capital.
You'd be surprised, the shots on goal so far, 9-6 Washington. Yet they trail 2-0. A delayed penalty is coming up. That will go against the Washington Capitals. Tom Barrasso has gone off. Pittsburgh has the extra attacker on. And as soon as Washington gets possession of the puck, as they do there, the whistle will blow, and we will get a penalty. There you see a look at the Western Conference 2 games already played last night. St. Louis winning on the road and Colorado winning at home. And how about the Jets, a 1-0 lead in Detroit?
Habby Boolin. Probably all Habby Boolin up there.
Well, boy, imagine the reaction at Joe Louis Arena.
Stunned silence.
Some spoiled hockey fans there. Well, that's what happens. You get 62 regular season wins. Penguins to the power play. The penalty is Todd Krieger, 2 for hooking at 12:58. The first penalty of this hockey game. And we see the Pittsburgh power play ranked #1 in the NHL. They clicked it 26% this season. An amazing story. Here's Nedved trying to set it up with Jágr. They try to work it, but the Capitals able to clear. Joey Juneau throws down.
Well, you can look for 2 things in the Caps penalty killing. One, if they bobble the puck a little bit, the Penguins do, they'll be aggressive. They'll jump on the puck. If not, they'll try to stay in that box, because if you start chasing them, they love that. They'll set somebody off the far side, and all of a sudden it's in your net. Face off at center ice.
Pavanka shorthanded, try to get a break. At minimum, he ate up some of the Pittsburgh power play. Here's Jágr flying. The hair moving like crazy. Loses possession, knocked on his hockey pants. Sent off for Nedved. Cross for Mario. They spin it around. Here's Francis. Cross ice. Shot and a save off the shot from Sergei Zubov. And with 45 seconds left in the man advantage.
Well, whenever you talk about the Penguins, you talk about power play. Look at the goals that they've scored with the extra man. Actually, Washington did a pretty good job against them in the season series, and you say that and then you go, yeah, their power play was only about 19% against them. They held them to 19%.
Pittsburgh power play against Washington was 3 for 16 this season. They'd certainly take that in the series, I think. Corey Foster is back for it. Foster and Zubov will work the points. It is Mario, Jaromir, and Thomas Sandstrom. Here's Zubov with a wide open lane. Mario way in close, and Carey cutting down the angle nicely, and he'll hang on.
Well, even if Carey got beat on that one, he had a goaltender in behind him in Jimmy Johnson. They were plugging every hole available there. Whenever Mario gets the puck, and especially down low like that, it just seems like everything goes to slow motion out there, doesn't it? Zubov saw he didn't have a shot, goes down low. Here comes Lemieux. Watch everything, just slow motion. Looking behind Carey. There's Jimmy Johnson. Doesn't have the pads on, but he was going to stop a puck anyway. Carey seems to have settled himself down a little bit. The thing I love about this guy is that. And you can see a lot of that going on now that he's settled himself down a little bit, freezing pucks, slowing the play down.
I understand what you mean by slowing it in slow motion. That was our slow motion, though.
Oh, thank you.
In case you didn't know that here. That was not real speed. It just that's probably the way it seems, though, to Mario. He sees everything as a little extra time for himself. The power play is over. Caps do a good job in killing it off. We're back to 5 aside with 5 minutes left after the 2-0 Penguin lead. Pittsburgh got off to the great start, scoring twice in the first 3 minutes of this hockey game. But since then, it's been pretty even. Maybe even Washington's had the better opportunity.
Yeah, I think they have. There's been a couple of shots on that power play for Pittsburgh, but other than that, they really haven't generated all that much since the second goal by Nedved.
Offside at the Pittsburgh blue line. First question out of Jim Schoenfeld's mouth this morning. Hey, is Thomas Sandstrom playing?
Yes, he is.
Another thing to go the Pittsburgh way, right? All Shoney's guys keep falling down, and all the Pittsburgh guys are getting healthier. It's the rich getting richer.
He's a big key to their power play, too, Sandstrom. He's got that big shot. He showed you that graphic with all the power play goals he's put up this year as well. What a hit he absorbed in Hartford when Stephen Rice discombobulated him right through the neutral zone, and he didn't play a game until tonight since then.
Discombobulated is a good way to put it. The ironic thing was that he was injured previous to that. He had missed 9 games after minor ankle surgery.
How's your tongue?
It's good, thank you. Thanks for asking. And then came back, and then bang, has to miss the remainder. So missed 24 of the last 25, but good and healthy right in time for the playoffs.
The rich get richer at the right time of year.
You know, so much of it, and talking to a lot of the Penguin players, they understand it. So much of it, playoff hockey, is being healthy at the right time. It's almost a luck kind of thing.
It's like a marathon endurance race, too, as Barrasso absorbs another one, and we'll hang on to it. You think about it, you're playing games every second day pretty much, unless you're Boston and Florida, and then you've got about a 5-day session in between. But after a while, and it's tough hockey, it's banging and bumping all the time, and pretty soon it's just a whole dressing room full of ice bags.
Right off the face-off, a penalty. The Penguins won it, and they won it rather easily, which gives you the idea that maybe there was an infraction on the face-off, and it was. Neil Wilkinson will go to the box, and we'll see our first Washington Capitals power play of the game.
And the Washington Capitals will be looking for their first power play goal of the year against the Pittsburgh Penguins. They went 0 for 20 during the series. This came right off the draw, like you said, Stevie, and it was pretty easy to call even from up here. It was going to be one of those obstruction interference calls right off the draw. So to the power play goal, the Caps, and a chance for them here before this first period ends to get a little bit of momentum and get feeling good about themselves again.
Interference at 15:52 on Neil Wilkinson, and the Washington power play, as you mentioned, awful against Pittsburgh in the regular season. Overall in the regular season, wasn't that great also. 15.6%, 22nd in the league. And if you include last season as well, 0 for 31 against Pittsburgh. 0 for their last 31 power play chances against the Penguins. So we'll see how they set it up. And Pittsburgh, remember, very dangerous even while killing penalties. Gonchar takes the bump at the Pittsburgh blue line. Smolinski able to clear. Zubov and LaRue, Smolinski and Nedved to kill off the penalties. They are the four Penguins out there. Povanka, Bondra, Hunter. Cote turnaround shot goes wide. And Gonchar, the 5 Washington Capitals on this power play. Here's Gonchar. Off for Cote. One-timer, easy stop for Barrasso. Along the ice, no traffic. Giveaway by Smolinski. Cote trying to make him pay for it. Couldn't capitalize, but the Caps able to keep in. LaRue, a big hit. He really crushed Bondra, let him know he was there. And then Bondra went back at him with a slash and got caught. Koharski caught him as he retaliated right in front of the Pittsburgh bench.
Well, big Frankie LaRue avalanched Bondra on the far side, and those are the type of hits it's tough to take, especially when you know you're going to get them all night long if you're Peter Bondra, but you have to somehow suck him up and not retaliate. He's just cost his club a minute of power play time, and given the Penguins another chance to go back on their power play. You got to turn away. It's a tough thing to do in this game. You got to find a way to do it.
Boy, that is a disciplined situation, and I'm sure Jim Schoenfeld is not happy about that. But you're right. I mean, if you're the Penguins, there's really only one key offensive guy to worry about, and that's Bondra, and they're going to be on him.
Yeah, he's got to try to explain to his star right winger that they're going to try to do this for 60 minutes every game. Try to get you off your game and get you off the ice. It's one thing to have him rest on your bench, but it's another thing to have him away from you for 2 minutes on the far side of the ice.
LaRue really did wreck Bondra along the far boards, and it might have been a bit of a high hit, and Bondra maybe thought he got that LaRue got away with something. It was a vicious whack at the ankles.
Well, Frankie LaRue's 6'6", and I think now he's only about 6'3". Chopped about 3 inches off him.
Big ankles. So we skate 4 aside and off the face-off. Carey able to glove down and leave for his defense. 4-on-4, open ice, and this would seem to benefit Pittsburgh again.
I would think so, although you've got people like this, Joey Junot.
And the shot right on, and Barrasso able to make the stop. Junot tried to backhand deeper. Foster and Tamer will work the back line for Pittsburgh. Miller and Sandstrom, the forwards, in this 4-on-4. We'll play 4-on-4 for another 30 seconds or so. And then about a minute of power play time for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Cote trying to wrap up. Comes to Tamer. Throws in deeper now. Kevin Miller back for Pittsburgh. For Sandstrom. As they battle, trying to work it free. 15 seconds left in the 4-on-4 situation before the Penguins put that mighty power play back on the ice. Here's Mario trying to make the steal, and instead he had the puck stolen from him. Cote off for Jim Johnson, fires in, easy save for Barrasso. And Sergei Zubov winding up. Penalty to Wilkinson is over, and the power play begins for the Penguins. 50 seconds and the man advantage. Here's Jágr now. Jágr checked by Gonchar. They cycle down low. Mario Lemieux hit by Tenorti. Jágr throws back in the net for Francis. Well, what a devastating group they put on the ice. Back for Peter Nedved. Nedved cross for Mario. Ron Francis. Lemieux. They play catch. Back for Zubov. For Francis. Zubov. Nedved looking for a lane. Had it for a second, and then it closed up. Zubov didn't want to shoot it either. Trying to go cross with a perfect play, and it's broken up by the Cap defense, but it's kept in. Zubov holding. Francis. Zubov. Nedved's side of the net. They always looked a backdoor for Mario or Jágr, and there it was, but it was cut off.
Oh, that was an impressive penalty kill by the Caps, I'll tell you. What they want to do is give those points away. They'll give them that. They'll give them the 2-point positions, but they will not give away that cross-ice pass, the cross-crease pass in front. Tenorti did a phenomenal job of taking it away on that one. They're big, too, on the back end, and they can take that right away from the Pittsburgh Penguins. They've looked good in penalty-killing situations so far in this game.
Back at 5-a-side. Smolinski and Hunter on the draw, and Hunter wins the face. Face-offs were a concern here this morning at the skate. A lot of people thought Washington had a pretty big edge in the face-off department.
Yeah, for whatever reason, some people said that Ronnie Francis did not have a great year on face-offs. I guess they keep stats on everything around here.
Here's Bondra trying to get free. Scores! Peter Bondra out of the penalty box and puts it in the net, and the Capitals back in the hockey game, 2-1.
Oh, that's enormous. That's huge. I tell you, Jim Schoenfeld should feel pretty proud of his hockey team right now. He said he's felt proud of them all year long because they battled through things. They battled through an awful start here tonight. And look at the release from Bondra here. A little turnover, and that's what a lot of teams try to exploit with the Penguins. Their defense turning the puck over. Hear that bang. I don't think Barrasso saw it. Moving screen coming in front. The placement of the shot by Bondra was perfect. And all of a sudden, the lead is cut in half.
You know, Razor, the worst start possible for the Capitals has turned out to be the best thing that could have happened since that point. They're in a 1-goal hockey game in the final seconds of this first period.
And they've come in here and outshot the Pittsburgh Penguins, which isn't a big deal maybe because they give up an awful lot of shots, the Penguins do. But it must make them feel pretty good. A very defensive-minded team, and they've come in here and had their chances.
Final 5 seconds tick off. You see the time remaining in this first period. It has been a good one from Pittsburgh. It started with a mighty explosion by the Penguins, scoring 2 goals within 11 seconds. 3 minutes in, they had a 2-0 lead. But the old bugaboo, the Caps get one in the last minute of the period. Welcome back, everyone, to Pittsburgh Game 1 of the series between the Penguins and the Washington Capitals. And, you know, when Pittsburgh got up 2-0, we sort of made the comparisons to last night's Philadelphia-Tampa game, that the Caps were in the process of possibly getting blown out of the building. And Washington hung tough, and they're right there to start the second.
Yeah, they really did. Again, a brilliant move by Schoenfeld to settle his boys down, settle his young goaltender down, and everybody did. After that, they kept this guy off the scoreboard for the rest of the period when it looked like, like you said, he was going to have a hat trick in the first 5 minutes.
You know, we've seen Peter Nedved an awful lot. He does look to have more jump come playoff time, and I guess, hey, it's a time of the year the big players step up.
Yeah, he really turned his career around a little bit, too, playing some top-level international hockey when he went over and played with Team Canada in the Olympics. They lost in that final to Sweden in overtime in the shootout and what have you, but he played very well for Tom Rennie, who was the coach of Team Canada, and it really brought his level up and brought his passion for the game back up again. You can see that now.
An outstanding first period for Peter Nedved, who's on the forecheck with Mark Tenorti. Sergei Gonchar spins it around the boards. Francis taking the body, and the Caps able to work it out. Juneau trying to break it out at center. Tenorti inside his own zone. Forecheck by Jágr. Took a whack at the puck and forced him deeper. Gonchar throws out to center. And they race for the puck. Here's Todd Krieger trying to break in on Zubov, and Juneau is flattened by LaRue, and we get a whistle.
Joey Juneau, who did not start the season well in the goal-scoring department and did not finish the season well as far as scoring goals. He only had the 1 goal in the first 21 games and had 1 goal in the final 21 games, and in between he put a few together for 14 on the season. But he really isn't a goal scorer. He kind of got labeled as that his first year, his rookie season in Boston, when he had racked up a bunch. He was runner-up for Rookie of the Year in '93 with the Bruins. I think he had somewhat 32 goals, I believe, was what he put up that year. And since then, he's had trouble scoring goals. He's got that blinding speed, and a lot of times he looks to pass before he looks to shoot. And I think a lot of coaches would love it if he'd do the other thing, the other way around. Shoot the puck a little more. He's got a great shot.
A penalty on Francois Leroux. He picked up 2 for slashing at 39 seconds. You mentioned Juneau not thought of as a goal scorer in the beginning. Well, Holds the NHL record for most assists in a season by a left winger with 70. In Boston, as you mentioned, 92-93. So we will see the Washington power play and an opportunity to tie the game with LaRue off in the penalty box. To set it up for you for Washington, Sylvain Cote and Sergei Gonchar will work the points for the Capitals. It'll be Bondra, Pavanka, and Dale Hunter for the Caps up front. Tamer and Wilkinson, Nedved and Smolinski to try to kill it off. It comes back out for Smolinski, but Gonchar, good poke check to keep it in. Hunter throws it in deeper. Karam's off the side of the net. Bondra there. Leaves for Hunter, and the Caps try to set it up. Here's Hunter with a lane. Try to go backdoor for Bondra, who's tied up neatly by Wilkinson. The Caps able to keep in. Down low on the backhand. It was blocked by Tamer, who tied up a man and went to one knee and did both jobs effectively. Hunter back to the point for a shot, a deflection. Barrasso down early, able to make the save.
That's 3 times in this game that Tommy Barrasso just laid right down on his side, the leaning tower of Barrasso, and made the save.
Trying to break. Here's a chance for Tenori, and a shot right on, and Barrasso covers up there. Is that the book on Barrasso? Is there a book on him? He's been so successful.
Well, usually he's a butterfly goaltender. He doesn't really flop all that much. He likes to play from his knees. He keeps his upper body erect and really takes a lot of the net away. But in this game, I've never seen him flop as much as he has early, but it's working. Whatever works, whatever keeps the pill out of your basket is what you go with.
And he's been, you're right, horizontal. I mean, it hasn't just been flopping. He's been, laying flat on the ice, but making the saves.
Yeah, he's out challenging. He gets out and takes the tip away, and it seems like that's what Washington likes to do with their power play a lot of the time. Send people to the front of the net and try to bother the guy in the pipes for the other team.
See the Capitals power play leaders for goals. It's Bondra and then everybody else. And Pat Peake trying to boost their lineup tonight. He'll help on the power play. Might not see a lot of ice time. Only had a couple of shifts in the first, but especially we'll see him on the power play for the Capitals, of which they have 50 seconds remaining in the penalty to Francois Leroux. Juneau is back on the ice. Off for Gonchar, and Juneau carrying out of the Washington zone. Caps trying a headman deeper inside. J.J. Daigneault gets to it for Pittsburgh first, although Washington pins it in a little deeper. Caps keep in. See the time remaining on the power play. Back behind the net, they set it up. Back off for Tenori. There's Juneau back of the cage. Andrew Burnett in front, and there's Peake on the power play, as we were talking about. And the glove save by Tom Barrasso.
Oh, and what a glove save, too. Man, oh man, Juneau likes to set up a lot like the upper echelon players in the league in behind the net. It's tough to defend against. You don't know which side he's going to come out or if he's going to pass, and you don't have eyes in the back of your head if you're Sergei Zubov. He doesn't see Peake. But fortunately for the Penguins, Tommy Barrasso had his glove right on the ice. He's a wrong-way goaltender. Catches with his right hand instead of his left. I call him wrong-way goaltenders. It's a southpaw, basically. And sometimes it confuses shooters a little bit. What would usually be low to the stick-hand side on Barrasso is all of a sudden his glove, and he's very good with it.
That's interesting. He's so used to shooting as a shooter to one side. And I always think about it from the goalie's perspective. What about from the shooter's perspective? 17:30 to go here in the second. The Penguins a 2-1 lead over the Caps. 9 seconds remaining. They have to take advantage of this faceoff. Pat Peake will take the draw. He's got Cote and Johnson right behind him working the points.
Boy, both of the draw men have their feet actually right on the dot. And now he's trying to move them back out of there. Nobody's going to give an inch. Look at
Peake using his forearm to win that faceoff from Ron Francis. But the Penguins come away with it. Can't clear. It's kept in by Cote. Let's see if they make him pay for it. Here's Burnett, back of the net. Took the hit, got it back. Johnson, little floater towards the net, and Barrasso way out again to make the stop, and Tamer clears as he's hit by Juneau.
Well, it was just a step away from WWF in front of Barrasso in front of the net. I'm telling you, you talk about wrestling.
Power play is over. Back to 5 aside. Here's Juneau. He shot it and shot it wide. Here's Jágr trying to break and use the speed. But he can't because back behind the play, the net came off its mooring. A look at the Pittsburgh Penguins bench, a bench that is certainly very familiar with the Washington Capitals bench, as they are meeting for the 5th time in the last 6 years in the playoffs. In the last 3 you see in the first round. Twice Washington had Pittsburgh up 3-1. Twice Pittsburgh came from behind to win the series in 7 games.
Start calling it the IRS series. every April.
That's a good point. Ironically, that in the previous 4 series, the Capitals have won Game 1 every single time. It's kind of interesting considering that Penguins have won 3 of the 4 series. Here's Mironov. Good fake. Dmitry Mironov throws it side of the net, and Tenorti saves the day for Jim Carey.
He saved his own day, too, because it was he who dropped to the ice way too early and gave Mironov a lane to the net.
Neat move. I don't see a defenseman make that kind of move.
That was a big fake. I mean, he brought down some banners in here when he had that stick up there for a while.
And he wasn't, you know, that wasn't the 5th and 6th defenseman for the Caps. That's your Mark Tenorti, the guy you're counting on. Quite the dipsy doodle just inside that Washington blue line.
Oh, man. They're really high on Dmitry Mironov here. He walks over the blue line with the big gun. Watch this. Watch the time. 1,000, 1,000, and then he just walks, sachets his way around the outside. Carey comes out, and look at the coverage in front. 3 caps in the crease. They do that better than any team I've seen this year. Collapse to the front of their net and make sure they clean up the garbage. This guy's a good captain. I like that trade that they made last year with Dallas to get him in exchange for Kevin Hatcher. Gives them a little more of a physical presence on their blue line, and they desperately need it right now with so many guys out of their lineup.
You see the scoring chances, 8-6 in favor of Washington, and even here in this second period, the early stages. Jim Johnson keeps in for Washington, at least momentarily, as Tamer able to clear for Pittsburgh. Pavanka right into Tamer's skates. Chris Tamer, well, I think his NHL career turned around when he took on Bob Probert earlier this season and got the best of Proby. I think found newfound respect and probably confidence that came with it.
The thing I like about him, he's a gamer, but he doesn't go looking for it, and he's not dirty about it. You never see Chris Tamer usually sucker punch people. He had problems in the minors. He was suspended. He actually got his first break to come up to the National Hockey League when he was in the minors and was suspended, but he doesn't do that here.
Here's Mario Lemieux trying his own move. Throws towards the side of the net, but again, good defensive coverage, as you pointed out. And now Kevin Kaminsky and Mario Lemieux getting together, and we get a whistle away from the play.
So Kaminsky in the boxes, he got tied up with Lemieux on the far side. You want to finish your guy, but you don't want to get carried away, and Kowarski was about 3 feet away from the two of them and made the call.
Here's J.J. Daniels setting up the power play with Ron Francis. Francis behind the net has Jágr. Nedved and Mario Lemieux in front. Here's Daniel, fakes the shot. Off for Francis. He's back for Daniel. His shot through a screen was stopped. I don't know if it got through to Carey. It looked like it did, and Carey got a piece of it. Looked like they shake it off. Here's Daniel breaking out. Somewhat interesting that J.J. Daniel working the point. Think of him more defensive guy. They've got so many offensive defensemen, yet Daniel's working the point. Jágr deflection went wide of the net.
Yeah, if you're Eddie Johnson, you just look down your bench and pick a number. Okay, you go. You try. They can come at you so many different ways, and really they have 2 solid upper echelon power plays they can throw at you.
And as we say that, Daniel is gone to the bench, and Sergei Zubov has replaced him. Maybe just to give a breather to Zubov. Nedved out there as well, all for Francis. Francis trying to break in, ducks under a check. Tenorti comes up to play him. Back for Jágr, cross for Zubov. Down for Lemieux. Here's Mario. Zubov. Mario. They play catch. Cross for Francis. Shot. He scores! Ron Francis from the angle on the power play. And the Penguins open up a 3-1 lead.
Well, the Penguins had tremendous patience this time with their power play. They were hearing it from the fans a little bit, to shoot, to shoot. They wanted to set up the perfect play. Zubov hits Francis. He's on his off wing. So it opens up the far side a little bit, but still, when you're below the dot on the circle, you got to call it a bad angle goal. And watch where Francis is when he lets this thing go. Down low, right on the wall. It's a bad angle goal. It beat Carey to the far side. You need saves like that in the playoffs. He might have had a screen for a moment in front of him, but you need saves like that. The power play comes through. It was only a matter of time.
You championed the Capitals penalty killing before, and really the 4 skaters did the exact same thing, keeping Pittsburgh out and just trying to stop the ones from way out. And that's a bad goal. I'm sure Jim Carey would like to have that one back. Race for the puck now inside the Washington zone. See how the Capitals react. Kevin Miller nearly had a chance. We know how the Penguins reacted after their first goal. They reacted by scoring another one 11 seconds later. Steve Pop's trying to work it free. Hunter there to help him out. Andrew Brunette trying to clear. Off for Peak, who clears and is flattened. It's Francis, his first, 36th of his career from Zubov and Lemieux at 5:47. The power play goal that puts the Penguins up by a score of 3-1. Starting to hear it from this crowd. You see the Eastern Conference situation. Two series starting last night, and good for Florida, you know? I mean, first ever playoff game in Florida and Tampa. Congratulations to the two Florida clubs doing a nice job all season.
Yeah, the Penguins actually talked a little bit about Tampa Bay, and Jaromir Jagr was very vocal in saying he was kind of happy that it was Washington because of the ice down in Tampa. It doesn't really add to anything the Penguins can do on the ice. If there's a bad sheet of ice, it takes away their speed. They don't want that.
As the Caps try to move it outside. You buy that? Is that just an excuse?
Well, I don't know.
Wow, looked like Barrasso got hit up high, and now pushing and shoving to his right in the crease. Looked like a stick came by and might have caught Barrasso up in the mask area. That's why the players get together.
A little hug fest to the right of Tommy Barrasso, who's having quite a conversation with Don Koharski about why there should be a penalty on this. He just froze the puck, and you're right. A pile came in afterward there.
Yeah, he gets a stick.
Yeah, up underneath. But you know what? Frankie Leroux had the man coming through. Francois Leroux, his defenseman, had his man, and he was lifting up his stick, and he was losing his balance at the same time. And I think it just inadvertently caught Barrasso. He's got all the SWAT gear on anyway. So I don't think he's going to be that injured at all. Big Francois Leroux. Reached cult hero status around here this year. He's fought an awful lot of tough guys. Talked to him this morning about the defense being so maligned as far as other teams coming at them and talking about them. That's the weakness of the Penguins. Says they don't read the paper, I don't listen to anything, we just go out and play.
6'6", Francois Leroux. Shot right off the faceoff on a neat little play by Joey Juneau, and Barrasso able to cover that. Neat play by him.
Well, there's the draws, too, and everyone was talking about this morning. The Capitals don't score very much off the rush, but they do score an awful lot off of face-off formations and just pumping pucks towards the net. That's what they did here. Barrasso seems to be able to, that's a great angle. Reverse angle here, you'll see exactly what happens. Juneau just went right to the net with it. Pretty alert by Barrasso to just absorb that one in the middle and freeze it and try all over again.
I mean, that's a play that should only work once, right? If you're the opposing center, you never let that happen.
You made a mistake.
Yeah. Jagr takes it away, trying to make the move. Every time Jagr touches the puck, the crowd gets up. Here's a chance. Tom Krieger, he's checked by Zubov, and the puck rolls to the corner. Here's Jagr off the net bed. Penguins just so electrifying. Every time they get any kind of first step, when the crowd responds. I wonder if they get a little spoiled like the Detroit fans, seeing great offensive hockey and really Detroit great defensive hockey as well all season long.
Well, I'll guarantee you they're a little bit spoiled, and I don't think this one's a sellout tonight, is it?
Two-line pass. I think they were coming up short. A couple empty seats here at the Igloo. The Penguins, the lead over the Capitals. Always a good time to look at the storyline. Peter Nedved came on like a ball of fire. 2 goals in 11 seconds. And then Peter Bondra put the Capitals back in this game. Washington has had great success, not in their series against Pittsburgh, but in game 1. In their 4 previous, they've won all of the game 1s. And then Pittsburgh, of course, has won 3 of the 4 series. Shots on goal. It's been Washington out in front, 19-12. The total's up on the board. Tenorti breaking in. Miranov on him, trying to ward him off, and Barrasso gets the big catcher out and able to make the stop.
Boy, the strength of Mark Tenorti, you can see it there, the big bull working his way down the left-hand side. Barrasso's going to freeze everything. Most goaltenders are going to do that in the playoffs. They don't want to take any chances with loose pucks. They can look for him. Do you remember when he was playing with the Minnesota North Stars?
Sure do.
Remember when they got to the finals, and almost every time the Stars came up the ice, he just ran at the net. And a lot of the times it was that man there in the goal, and they did that. They brought their defenseman through and bumped Barrasso a lot. And we've seen that in the last couple of minutes in this one already. People in the face of Tommy Barrasso trying to knock him off his game a little bit.
The 91 Stanley Cup Finals, the Minnesota North Stars. Jim Johnson, also a member of that team, in the Pittsburgh Penguins. Sent back inside the Capital zone. Carey swings it aside there. And the Capitals break out. Here's Pavanka. This is their offensive line. Bondra trying to take a whack at it. Mario Lemieux coming out 1-on-3, and you still think Mario has the advantage sometimes.
You got the reach, that's for sure. He's been a little quiet in this thing so far. They've done a nice job against him. They just have had a problem with Mr. Nedved.
Here's Mario. Drop pass for J.J. Daniel. Gives it back to Lemieux, and it went off the defenseman, and Carey able to hang on. 3-1, the Penguins have the lead over the Capitals. And 2 of the 3 goals Jim Carey would like to have back. Trying a headman for Glenn Murray just ahead of him, and Carey gets to it first and swings it away. Pat Peake is back for it for the Capitals. Able to clear the zone.
This is the line that Eddie Johnson was mentioning this morning. He needed some offense out of in this series, and that was scary when he starts saying, well, you know, okay, we've got 2 lines that can blow you away, but we need our 3rd line to score as well.
And he was serious.
I know.
And that's one of the reasons that Kevin Miller was put down to the 3rd line, trying to pump up some offense. Here's a 2-on-1. Speaking of Kevin Miller, there he is. Off his skate, a shot, a save, Carey. His best save of the game on Glenn Murray. 2nd great opportunity for Kevin Miller, and both times the puck has hopped on him.
Yeah, the puck's hopping a lot, it seems like. Even when Murray tried to pop that rebound, it was bouncing around a little bit on him, too. He's another one of the guys they picked up in that trade with Boston. He and Smolinski. Watch this thing. He just never settles down. Big rebound from Carey, and he's giving up a few of those now. He looks a little unsure of himself in the net. When you stop the puck, you're doing your job, but when he's really on his game, he just smothers this rebound right there and doesn't spit it back out in front. Murray didn't realize he had as much time as he really did. Pete got there about 4 seconds too late. If Murray takes his time and pops that thing home.
Nedved and Peake will take the face. We told you Pat Peake was one of the 8 returning players, one of the 8 injured players, the only one to return. He suffered a bruised knee in Buffalo on the 3rd of this month. Eagles and Nedved do take the draw.
Interesting, Nedved taking the draw here too. He is a center iceman. He had to learn how to play a little bit of wing this year, and they said this morning he's their best draw man.
Eagles was thrown out of the face-off, and face-off won by Pittsburgh. Here's Ron Francis. Fires a shot way wide of the net. Jagr trying to get a swipe at it. Cote battles with him. Juno back behind his own net, doing the back-checking thing. Here's Jagr. Oh, neat move. Had Johnson fooled, but couldn't get the shot on goal. Nedved pokes it back into the Washington zone. We've hit the midway point of this game. The Penguins a 3-1 lead over the Capitals. Steve Levy, Darrell Ray from the Igloo in Pittsburgh. It's game 1 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinal series. The 2nd-seeded Penguins, the 7th-seeded Capitals. Comes back to the point. Cote shot right on. Barrasso, no problem with that. No traffic again in front of him. Juno battling. Nelson takes the hit. Caps doing their thing. This is the work ethic we talked about. And can they make it pay off? Here's Jagr back the other way. Has Nedved with him. Finally a neat shift on his backhand. Forehand save, Carey. Jaromir Jagr with a burst of speed.
Well, one thing, the speed, yes, but the other thing is the guy he had draped all over him that he brought along for the ride. Big Mark Tenorti through the neutral zone. He's so strong. I know the Penguins wish he would go down a little more often and draw some penalties. Watch him when he turns, and you almost hear the motor going as he comes through the neutral zone. And then watch this. Get on my back. Here I come. I want to go to the front of the net, and you will not deny me. Good save by Carey on that one to lay down and take everything away in the bottom of the net. Fights through one guy in the neutral zone in Eagles. Tenorti tries to pick him up. He can't do anything with him. It's almost like a free lane. I want to go to the net. You will not stop me.
That's the deceiving part about Jagr. You don't expect a guy who is that great and skilled talent to be that strong also. It's almost unfair. It should be illegal.
It's the whole package.
The Capitals try to break out. They're stopped cold at the Pittsburgh blue line. They throw back in. J.J. Daniel getting plenty of ice time back on the Pittsburgh blue line. Cross-ice pass looking for Brad Lauer, who coming into this series knew his job would be to go up against Peter Bondra. Throws it, they score! It's Thomas Sandstrom. So much for Lauer's defensive play. Great feed, and the Penguins have a 4-1 lead.
Well, Brad Lauer mentioned that this morning. I don't want to just be one-dimensional and take the offense away from the line, so it's only a two-person line, Sandstrom and Lemieux. Well, he didn't on this shift. You're right, his assignment is going to be to shut down Peter Bondra, but he can be talented. Watch how quick he gets his pass off back in front. He knew what he was doing before he got the puck, and you don't give Sandstrom a second in front of the net. Otherwise, he'll bury it, and he did just that. Boy, oh boy. They're going to play power on power. This line against the Pavanka-Bondra line for the most part. It looks like both coaches are happy with that matchup. It didn't look too good that time as Thomas Sandstrom picks up his 29th career playoff goal. Lemieux talked about getting him back on his line. Oh, we're going to get a goaltending change too. They need that right-handed sniper on that line. If they can get Sandstrom back into the lineup with Lemieux, it gives him that option because he's a right-handed shot. So he can go over to that side a lot more, pick his spots. Kolzig will come in, and that's it for Jim Carey. And probably a pretty good move because you don't want your #1 guy to get shellacked.
How about Carey's confidence? We talked about this before we went on the air. Last year, the great regular season really carried the Capitals and then had a rough time in the playoffs against these same Penguins. It's got to be going through his head. Here we go again.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure it is. There's no way you can escape that. We documented that in the start of the telecast tonight, the fact that he's had 2 great regular seasons, but he hasn't been able to put it together come postseason. Certain not a very happy camper, as his night is done. So Olaf Kolzig is pretty close to the largest goaltender in captivity, and the pipes now for the Caps.
He's also got a great nickname, Oli the goalie. Tough to do better than that. So far, I mentioned Carey playing against Pittsburgh. 8 playoff games, including tonight. Carey's been pulled in 3 of them. That's not a good percentage. And here come the Penguins right back. Here's Mario with a rolling puck. Was looking for Brad Lauer. And it just rolled too much on him, even for the great Mario Lemieux. Michael Pavanka throws in deeper. Kaminsky back behind the net. Here's Cote throwing it in front. As it looked like Ustorf was taken down. Jim Schoenfeld trying to do something. He's broken up the lines a little bit. Pavanka and Bondra being separated.
We're going to show you the end of Jim Carey's night, as he was ventilated for the 4th in just over half a game. Lauer down low, Sandstrom cruising in the slot. Nobody in blue had their head on a swivel to pick him up. He went through there unmolested and popped it past Carey, so that has brought only the goalie into the fold. Only guy I know, born in Johannesburg, South Africa, to play in the National Hockey League. Played his junior out in Tri-Cities. Had a great stint in the American Hockey League this year. He went down on a little conditioning stint, played 5 games, was named Goalie of the Month for the numbers he put up in 5 games in Portland.
That is a good stint. Olaf Kolzig in goal for Washington now. And it remains Tom Barrasso in goal for Pittsburgh. Washington again out shooting Pittsburgh 21-16. Does that surprise you? Should that accurate? How do you feel about the shots on goal right now? A lot of times it doesn't tell the story in the game.
No, I don't think it really does. A lot of those shots have only had 1 opportunity at a time, really, against Tommy Barrasso. And the Penguins give up a lot of shots. They've done it all season long. Contrast that with Washington that likes to shut people down. They just didn't get the saves from Jim Carey.
Chance, Kolzig makes a stick save and clears it to the corner. He's in the game. Kevin Miller trying to wrap it around. Wilkinson throws in deeper. Kolzig there, and he will make the stop and get the whistle.
For the young blue liners for the Pittsburgh Penguins, Neil Wilkinson, they picked him up about midway through the year in a trade with the Winnipeg Jets. Came over for Normie McIver. They wanted to kind of change the face of their defense. They were a little bit too small and too offensive-minded, he felt, on their blue line. They wanted a little more of a physical presence. So they grabbed this guy. He's come in and actually fit in pretty well with them. He's teamed up an awful lot with Tamer, and that gives them a duo of big boys that can bang some bodies back on the blue line for them.
Well, they really needed to replace. I mean, their big 3 from a year ago
both Samuelsons, not related, and Larry Murphy, who went to Toronto. Now, granted, they replaced him with some good players, Mironov and Wilkinson now, but you lose those three defensemen, you're going to feel it. The Penguins have all year.
Yeah, they really have. I mean, Zubov can kind of replace Murphy, but those big boys, the big bangers, those are tough to replace.
Here's Nedved on his backhand to his forehand, and breaking away is Kelly Miller for Washington. Krieger, stood up by LaRue, is a physical force. At 6'6", Francois LaRue. Sounds like a character that, like in a Slapshot movie, you know? Like he would be one of those players on one of those opposing teams that had to be the tough guy against the Charlestown Chiefs. Francois LaRue, but he's a real guy, and we're seeing him play tonight. Off the side of the net, Barrasso makes the stop. We get the whistle. 6:43 to go in the second. 4-1. Ends over the Caps.
Well, the Penguins have pretty good numbers whenever they score 4 goals in a hockey game. It's rather astounding, actually, when you look at it. Look at it. Not bad. 41-7-1. And they've done that an awful lot, which is one of the things that has got them to where they're at right now. They can overcome some lapses in their own zone because they score so many goals. And this defense, although it's been maligned, can get the job done. Some nights it's easy. Just hold the other team to 5.
Right. And win 7-5 and walk out of the building laughing. Lauer couldn't get to it in time. Cote rolls one in on goal, and Barrasso able to make that stop. Fired back in by Cote, deeper inside the zone. It's been a good one tonight from Pittsburgh. The Penguins have gotten a couple of breaks, and then they've taken advantage of some others, and have a 4-1 lead over the Capitals. All alone in front, Mario Lemieux, and Olaf Kolzig makes the stop. Goaltender's nightmare.
Oh, what a give and go, though, by Lemieux and Sandstrom. Man, oh, man.
Pavanka drops. Cote trying to force the issue. Pavanka and Bondra back on the ice together. Jim Schoenfeld broke up there, that tandem for one shift. And Jim Johnson is back for Washington. Off for Stefan Ustorp, loses momentarily to Sandstrom, then regains, and Mironov for Pittsburgh. Off for Lemieux. Trying to break. Here's Dale Hunter in. Hunter trying to break, and Barrasso to save, and Hunter got it back. Strange carom off the glass. Can Washington benefit? Here's a shot from Pops. Went wide of the net, and he's checking his wood. Now a shot from Brunette, and that goes wide of the net, and here come the Penguins the other way. Murray trying to get to it, couldn't do so. Pops takes him off the play nicely, and back out at center. The headman for Andrew Brunette. Nice move, Brunette. Shot, and a good save by Barrasso. Got a piece of it with the skate. Hunter flicks it in front of the net. Smolinski was the only player there, and he's on the other team. Here comes back out the center.
Well, it's gotten a little loosey-goosey now, and it has to, because when you get down by 3 goals, although you'd like to play that tight defensive system, you can't. You have to start generating some offense. Ooh, we got a penalty.
Maybe this will help. The Caps will go to the power play with 5:04 left in the period. Chris Tamer, another trip to the penalty box.
Yeah, a little bit of that interference. Kowarski's let a lot of stuff go. He's let the two teams play a little bit away from the puck, but he seems to have his eye on this obstruction interference thing, as he's called it a number of times. The former University of Michigan standout will sit in the sin bin for a couple of minutes. Oh yeah, right there. A little moving pick to give Wilkinson a little more time to bust out from behind the net. Good call by Kowarski, and a chance again for the Caps to cut the lead in half.
Tamer on the penalty, 2 minutes, 14:56 for interference. You see the Capitals power play, and 0 for their last 33 against Pittsburgh. I mean, tough to beat the Penguins when you're going 0 for 33.
It's just 0 for. They are 0 for. They got to find a way to get something to go in off a skate, a hip, a head, a chin, something. They need an ugly goal just to get that big bagel to go away.
I want to correct something I said. I said it was Tamer, another penalty for him in this one. He piled up a number of them, second on the club in the regular season, but his first penalty of tonight.
Well, we'll save that one. He'll probably get another one later on.
We'll roll back the tape. 4-1, the Penguins leading the Capitals. 5 minutes to go in the second. It may be a pivotal point in this hockey game for Washington to cut it to 2. Gonchar and Cote to man the points. That's 55, the speed limit. Double nickel. Sergei Gonchar. You got anything else for 55?
That's my whole bag of tricks.
I used them all up.
Thank you.
Sure. Gonchar deep inside his own zone. Now loses. Here's Smolinski on a break. Slapped it and right in the Gonchar's foot. Sergei will shake that one off and try to set up the power play.
Juneau out with Pavanka and Bondra.
Boy, the Penguins are doing a real nice job of staying right up on the blue line. There's going to be a penalty here.
Retaliation again.
Yeah.
Juneau got caught behind the play.
Yeah, he got stood up right at the blue line. The Penguins were doing a nice job of contesting their own blue line against this power play of the Caps. And again, retaliatory penalties will kill you. You think back to the first period when Bondra took one. LaRue again.
Right.
And he can do this. He can be one of those little antagonists. And a pretty good actor, too,
yeah,
because I think that head snapped back a little farther than the little poke that came from Juneau. But at this time of year, you have to suck that stuff up. You can't do it. You want to, but you have to just tell your body, forget about it. I'll get him later on with something clean.
Hey, Francois LaRue is one of the stars of the game so far for drawing a couple penalties. He knows it there, too, doesn't he?
Oh,
he
yeah.
knows it. Tough to imagine Joey Juneau hurting Francois LaRue with a little swipe like that, huh?
Oh, man.
We'll skate 4-on-4 for a minute 18. It is Juneau, 2 for roughing at 15:38. And then we'll see the Penguins go to the power play.
Boy, you know, when it's 5-on-5, it's a mistake taking a penalty against Pittsburgh. But you intensify your mistake when you ruin your own power play and then give them some more time, too.
Yeah, but it's the back end that kills you. I mean, it negates any chance you have of getting yours going, but it's when they come back in on that powerful power play that you can get killed.
Off the face-off, Johnson has for Washington. Again, we're 4-on-4, and all that does benefit Pittsburgh. Pavanka is out there with Bondra. Johnson and Cote sent inside the zone. He's right in front, and Kevin Miller has for Pittsburgh. Good first pass out of the zone for Thomas Sandstrom, who has the 4th Penguin goal tonight. Johnson off for Pavanka inside. They try to set something up. Here's Pavanka. As Cote scores! Sylvain Cote on the backhand. It's an even strength goal at 4-4, and it makes the score 4-2.
Oh, this is a big one. Cote just snuck his way, just kind of meandered his way in there. Nice little give and go between the two most talented Caps, Pavanka and Bondra. But it was the defenseman that busted through to the net. Watched in front of the net. There's a little give and go. Somehow, Cote got away from Foster in front of the net. Both he and Wilkinson were right on him. And then just a nifty little backhand. They're tough to pick up for a goaltender. Watch this, just a quick little backhand. The butterfly by Barrasso, and it went up over his glove. A good goal, big one, 4-on-4. I'm like you, I would think that the Pens would probably have the advantage, but when you can put 3 players like that out there on the ice, I like Pavanka and I like Bondra against anybody the Penguins can put out.
Cote led the Capitals defense with assists this season with 33. They'll certainly take the goal with, again, 4 of their top 6 defensemen out of the lineup tonight, relying an awful lot on Sylvain Cote and Mark Tenodi, and they get the goal from Cote. It's Cote from Pavanka and Bondra at 16-12. 4-2, the Penguins leading the Capitals here with 3.5 to go in the second.
Shouldn't really be any surprise that a defenseman scores for the Caps. A couple years ago, when Sylvain Cote was paired up with Johansson and with a guy by the name of Hatcher on the blue line, they each scored 30 goals. Highest ever in the National Hockey League, if I'm not correct. And I look over wantingly to Randy, our stats man, to back me up on that one.
He thinks 3 players had 20 goals. Randy Andreichu, who made the 7-hour drive after working the booth in New York at the Garden last night, drives to Pittsburgh. Talk about dedication.
Yeah.
He'll be back to New York tomorrow night for the game on ESPN, Rangers and the Canadiens, and then back again to Pittsburgh.
He's living on caffeine right now, bouncing off the walls up here.
Living off the hockey.
Off the face-off. Here's Gonchar. Shot right on. Barrasso able to make the stop with Bondra in the crease. Now the penalty is over to the Penguins, and the Capitals, rather the Penguins penalty is over, so they will go to the power play for 30 seconds. Under 3 to go here in the second. 4-2 the Penguins lead. And here's Pittsburgh coming out. with the man advantage. Zubov fires in. Kolzig couldn't get to it. In case you missed it, Jim Carrey has been replaced by Olaf Kolzig after he gave up the 4th goal of the night. Here's Zubov trying to set it up. Gets it back. One-timer shot and a save by Kolzig with the glove, and he will hang on. No rebounds out of Olaf Kolzig.
No, that was a tough one. This guy finished 8th in the entire National Hockey League, and as far as defenseman scoring, Zubov's got a terrific gun from the point. He can really let it howl, and he had Ronnie Francis right in front of the net, and I'm not sure whether he got a piece of it or not, but it's awfully tough for a goaltender to pick it up on its way through when you have a guy stick in your face as well. Good look from behind. Now you can see Francis right in front. No rebound. Kolzig has looked good. First big test of his game so far.
Olaf Kolzig made his playoff debut last year. Got a couple of games in relief. Ron Francis. Boy, look at all the Penguin numbers against the Capitals, and they really torn him up over the years.
Got a correction on that 92-93
A
Caps
correction?
D. Yes, I had one guy over 34. I had all 3. But actually, it was Iafrate with 25, Silva and Cote with 21, and Hatcher with 34. Had the number right.
Yes, you did. You get points for that. Face off to the right of Olaf Kolzig. Francis and Pavanka. Pavanka took his man down and took the puck and smacked it around the boards. But it's kept in by Pittsburgh. Here's Mario Lemieux. Backhand to forehand. Finds Yager. Jaromir trying to set it up. We're 5 aside now. And approach the final 2 minutes of this second period. Caps get it out to center. Had a 3-on-2 if they hurry, but it doesn't develop that way. It's sent into the Washington zone. Penguins go for a change.
It's been sloppy at times, hasn't it? Not much in the way of pretty plays through the neutral zone. Some nice plays in the offensive zones, but through the middle, that credits the Caps, because that's what they want to do. They want to confuse things a little bit and not let the Penguins get free-flowing in between the 2 blue lines, because that's where they can kill you.
Brunette trying to clear the puck from his knees, unable to do so, and now gets some help. Pops behind the net, takes his man down. Caps just trying to get out of it. Get out of this period, down 2 goals. And worry about it in the third. Here comes Washington as Pat Peake tried to get at. Had the puck knocked off his stick. Now Dale Hunter forcing things inside the Pittsburgh zone. Pops couldn't keep it, and Kevin Miller clears. It will travel the length of the ice. We'll get the touch-up for icing. 1 minute and 8 left remaining in this second period. A look at Dale Hunter. Veteran, stability, penalty minutes. The all-time leading playoff penalty minute man in the National Hockey League.
He's playing in his 16th consecutive playoffs. He plays some of his best hockey at this time of year, and I was watching his show earlier. They were talking about the Hunter boys. He has 2 brothers. He said, we had 1 defensive guy. That was Dave, who played out with the Oilers. We had 1 goal scorer. That was Mark, who played with St. Louis and played with Hartford. And we still don't know what I am. We're still trying to figure that out at age 35. Almost a point per game the last 3 playoff years. He really does play his best hockey, and he's a nice role model for all the rest of the Caps as he digs his way in. He's a pest. He gets in people's face. He's the type of guy you need at playoff time to win.
Penguins missed on the headman pass for Jaromir Jagr. And the Caps come away with it. Here's Stefan Ustorf out ahead for Pavanka. Gonchar trying to feed one through for Juno. Couldn't get it through the skates. It comes back out at center from Mark Tenorti. Ustorf, nice move to avoid a hit from LaRue, who's been just a force back there. Gonchar, right in front, they score! Todd Krieger! And it's a 1-goal hockey game.
Oh, man. You talk about pinpoint passing.
What a play.
I think everybody touched it. But the key to this one was way out in the neutral zone when LaRue came charging out and really left his post. And that allowed the Caps to bust in over the blue line. This was just beautiful to watch. They worked it around like everybody on the other side had their sticks turned upside down. There were no blades on the ice. Todd Krieger, who they picked up, or reacquired actually from Anaheim, scores a big one. Watch this. There's LaRue coming through the picture there. He's out in the neutral zone now. And then bang, bang, and then this pretty cross-ice pass by Junot. There you go. Dottie Krieger, who they picked up for his speed and for his penalty-killing ability, just scored a huge goal for them. They've done this twice now. Talk about resilience. In the last moment, they've come back to give themselves a chance going into the next period. And if you're Pittsburgh, it'll make you ill. They were sloppy down the stretch as the regular season wore down, and they've looked a little bit sloppy in this one too.
Krieger from Gonchar and Ustav at 19:26, the 8th playoff goal in the career of Todd Krieger. We've got ourselves a one-goal game and should set up to be a pretty awesome third period here from Pittsburgh as we count down the final 15 seconds of this one as the Caps try to break it. Hey, why wait till the third? We can get another one right here. The Caps, that seems to be their effort. Bondra's battling a delayed penalty coming up. Pavanka's shot goes wide, and as Pittsburgh touches up, we get the whistle. The period has come to an end. Now Tamer and Kamensky want to get at each other as other players now get involved.
They're moshing now. But you can see this thing brewing for a while. Kaminsky, that's his role, and he's played out there a few times in between Pavanka and Bondra. He's taken some draws and what have you. He's gotten involved. Tamer's a willing participant in this too. Boy, I'll give these Caps, I'll tell you this, hard work can beat talent if talent doesn't work hard. And it seems like whenever the Penguins get up by a goal or a couple, they stop working and stop thinking a little bit, and it opens the door for these guys who have perhaps the best work ethic in the league to come back, pick away, they get their chances, and they've buried a couple of them.
Welcome back inside the Igloo here in Pittsburgh. It's game one of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals. Pittsburgh and Washington. The Penguins have a 4-3 lead as we get set to start the third period. And Jim Schoenfeld's guys will have an advantage starting the third. They'll start with a full 2-minute power play.
Man, the key right now is to stay on the power play. They've been their own worst enemy when they've gotten on a couple of their power plays with people taking some penalties and what have you. I think Bondra had a problem earlier on. They got to get it going. If they can get a special teams goal here and tie the thing up, they'll be in pretty good shape.
The penalty that came at the 20-minute mark was Wilkinson, 2 for boarding. This will be the 4th Washington power play of the hockey game, and here we go. Nedved will start it with Smolinski, Zubov, and Tamer, the 4 Pittsburgh Penguins. It's peak between Pavanka and Bondra, the forward line for Washington, Gonchar and Cote on your defensive blue line here on the power play. Capitals out shooting the Pens 28-20. And you see the power play numbers in this game tonight. The big collar for Washington against Pittsburgh, but that's nothing new dating back to last season. Back behind the net, Zubov trying to clear. Peak has. One of the reasons brought back Pat Peak from the injured list was for this very situation, the power play. He had 8 power play goals, second most on the team this season. Trying for the deflection in front. Pavanka couldn't get to it as Barrasso was way down once again, and it sent down the length of the ice.
It's the one thing, the luxury that they have of having Tommy Barrasso back there. He can be like a third defenseman, handles the puck very, very well, especially when they're killing penalties.
LaRue sends it back the other way. Here's Dave McElwain trying for the break. Penalty coming up. And for the 3rd time in this game, the Capitals kill off some of their own power play time.
Well, the guy who got it going again with a little bit of offense in Sylvain Cote makes a mistake. He lost a step. You can see McElwain taking off on the outside, and when you're getting a little water skiing in the playoffs, it's not a good thing. You have to turn the other cheek and take your chances that your goalie's going to stop that. It was way out in the neutral zone. Bad penalty. Negates the rest of the power play, as you mentioned again.
3rd time tonight. Just giving chances away. It's a good shift by McElwain. Pittsburgh probably plays less of their 4th line because of their high-talented players than maybe any other team in the league. I don't know if Dave McElwain, that might have been his first shift of the game.
Yeah, well, they only dress a couple of extra forwards, and a lot of times they go with 7 defensemen. They did it a lot down the stretch. They went with 7D in their lineup. They've done it again here tonight. And you're right, I don't think we've seen Roach at all.
I don't think we've seen Roach at all, that's right.
And that was pretty much the first shift that I've seen Mr. McElwain on the ice as well. So a little more of that 4-on-4 hockey. It was good to the Caps last time.
Sylvain Cote got his goal in the 4-on-4. We are just over a minute into this third period. Cote will not be able to score this time because he's in the penalty box.
Needs a long stick from where he's at.
Thrown towards the front of the Washington net. We skate 4-on-4 for the next 50 seconds or so, and then Pittsburgh will have a full minute with the man advantage. Here's Kevin Miller. Actually, Sandstrom throws in. Miller held up at the blue line. Jim Johnson is back forward for Washington. Johnson avoids the Miller hit. Still waiting for the Kevin Kelly-Miller connection at center ice for a bump on either of the brothers, but we haven't seen that yet either.
You've done a nice job of keeping those straight. I don't know if I would. And then they throw in their brother Kip, who plays in the IHL. He's been up and down with Chicago and Indianapolis, and you've got a bunch of Ks in the Miller boys from Lansing.
Mark Tenorti back for the touch. You can get icing when it's 4-on-4, and that's the call now. 18-14 to go here in the third.
Well, I think for the most part, the Caps have to be happy with the job that they've done on the big guns, on Yager and on Lemieux, and they've taken the ice away from them. That's what Sean Feld was harping at. But there's so many weapons that can come at you in the Pittsburgh lineup. You wonder whether it's enough. This has been a quiet crowd in here for a home game. They've been just sitting watching what's going on and really haven't been a part of the game. When you think playoffs and you think of home dates, you usually think of the crowd being like a seventh man out there for you, and it really hasn't been that way.
Maybe they're doing what the Penguins are not doing, and that's looking past this first round. I mean, the expectations are so high for Pittsburgh. Maybe they just won't get into it in the next round. Not that it's right. The team needs them. They're in a one-goal hockey game against a team they should probably be beating badly. Francis will take the face. Eagles, though, wins the draw for Washington, and a shot, and Barrasso the save, and more contact in the crease with Tom Barrasso.
Yeah, it's pretty simple off their draws. Win the draw back to the point, and then head directly to the Pittsburgh net and create all kinds of havoc for Tommy Barrasso.
Penalty is over. Wilkinson is out of the box, so for a minute, the Penguins will have the power play. Mario Lemieux, the first man in the zone, couldn't get possession, and Washington clears. See the numbers on the Pittsburgh power play, 1 for 4 tonight. They wind it up. Zubov, Francis, Yager, Lemieux. Like they even need a fifth guy. They have one just in case. And that's number 4, Corey Foster. Foster and Zubov working the points, but the Caps get it once again, able to clear. Good penalty killing by Washington really all night.
Yeah, it's been great all game long, and what they've done is they've been very cerebral. Whenever they set up in a box, they keep them to the outside, and whenever the Penguins bobble the puck, they jump on them. Very aggressive. You saw behind the net a little hit. Now a little bit of confusion as they go offside. They've done a nice job, and usually it's the play away from the puck, not the play on the guy with the puck, that causes all that, and they've been very good at that.
We mentioned the Capitals doing a good job penalty killing. Pittsburgh does have one power play goal tonight, but you really couldn't fault the penalty killers on it. That was a goaltending mistake.
Yeah, it really was a shot that probably Jim Carey should have had. They haven't given up that many chances since Carey left the game. Holzig has had to make a couple of saves, but that's been about it. But that's kind of the story of the Washington Capitals. They do not give up an awful lot of chances, and that's how they win their games. They hang around. They hang around, they lurk around. Third period, they find a way to get goals through their work ethic, through pounding pucks to the net, everybody crashing the net, and that's how they've gotten themselves into the playoffs, and that's how they intend to extend themselves in this playoffs. It's going to be a tough task with all the injuries.
And then without Witt, Klee, Konowalchuk, Berube, Jones, Johansson, Riki, and Malgunas. Again, they got Pat Peake to return tonight. That's what Washington's thinking. If they can get going and extend this series just a bit, they get a couple of extra healthy bodies. And if they could win the series, then for the next round, they might be close to healthy. Caps have a lot of confidence. Jim Schoenfeld's one of the most positive people I've ever met. He really believes he can win this series. Inside the Pittsburgh zone, Stefan Ustorf trying to make the move on Mironov. Mironov showing the good strength, forcing him to the outside. Gonchar trying to throw in deeper. Here's Pavanka. He's got an angle. Pavanka tried to throw it in front for Bondra. And it's the passer always looking for the shooter, and maybe the passer should have shot. Here's Mario trying to break in 1-on-2, taking off nicely. The Washington defense.
A little double team action on Mario.
As J.J. Daigneault touches up for icing.
There's one of the youngsters, Brunette, Andrew Brunette from Sudbury, Ontario. we saw a moment ago. Last year in Owen Sound was 92-93 in junior. He was a great junior. He led the OHL in scoring. They brought him up and put him on a pretty offensive line for the most part too. They've got some good kids that have come up through their system. They've drafted well in Washington. They've got a good program going in Portland in the American Hockey League. And you need that. This is the time that you need your players and your depth to come through for you.
He's got good size, 6 feet, 212 pounds. Andrew Brunette. Counting on him for some of the offense from the players that aren't in the lineup. Out at center, Kevin Miller trying to reverse the field. Does for Glenn Murray, but just off his stick and back out in the neutral zone. Chris Tamer is back for it. Tamer for Pittsburgh. And back out of center. So the much maligned Pittsburgh defense that has been the subject of everything, basically because you look at their offense and goaltending, they've got that. How would you rate the Pittsburgh defense so far tonight?
Well, they've been both ends of the spectrum. They've been very good at times, and they've looked very susceptible at times as well, especially in that second period. Now, can their offense overcome that? They've done it all season long, and you think of Tommy Barrasso. He's making the necessary saves. He hasn't been spectacular, but he's been there for the most part when he's been called upon.
Nedved a big hit, put Kelly Miller down. Comes backside of the net. Here's Juneau trying to make the move. Fanned on his first pass and then tried to hit Miller, but that was broken up by LaRue. Nedved through his legs. Pass out to Ron Francis, and here we go the other way with the Penguins. Francis. He's checked by Gonchar. Throws deeper. Tenorti there. Poke checked away by Nedved. Yager now with 2 men on him. Yager showing the skill and the strength. Francis has the puck taken away from him, but Nedved throws in a little deeper. Pair of 10s. Miller and Francis battle. Yager comes away with the puck like it's on a string on his stick. And finally, Washington comes away with the 2-on-2 the other way. Juneau, little drop pass. Juneau was cleaned up in front. Krieger tried to pass it back to him. Juneau was really crushed as he crossed along the middle.
He
looks like he's hurt.
Yeah. I think you can probably dial that one up to Charlie. The old Charlie horse.
Yeah, it looks like the left leg of Joey Juneau. McElwain trying to break in. He gets into a one-on-one battle with Johnson. McElwain did such a good job in his last shift. EJ gave him another one. Drew a penalty his last shift. Pavanka trying to break in. Offside at the Pittsburgh blue line with 14:03 to go here in the third. The Penguins a 1-goal lead, 4-3.
Well, Francois Leroux has been the story. You don't think that Francois Leroux, their big young defenseman, is going to be the story when you have all this offensive talent. But watch him step across. Talk about taking a hit to make a play. As you know, bam. It looked like he caught him in the hip. He sure altered his course, that's for sure, as he stepped across the blue line. Did it look more to you like it might have been his hip or his high thigh?
He turned. He saw him coming at the last minute. Check out some of the hits. This is far from a no-hitter tonight. There's been plenty of activity and banging the bodies.
Wow, can you imagine if they lost this guy too, to add to the list?
And here you go. Here's some of your Washington injuries.
Look at that. Even people they called up, like Stuart Malgunas, as soon as he came up and separated his shoulder, it doesn't matter who comes into the lineup, they have the injury bug.
The key is really the 4 defensemen who you know, imagine any other NHL team losing 4 of their top 6 and now having to play an offensive juggernaut like the Pittsburgh Penguins.
And 2 of those guys, Kelly Johansson, who put up terrific numbers against Washington in all the series, or against Pittsburgh in all the series they played against one another. And Joe Ricci, the year that they upset the Penguins, he played some of his finest hockey.
Ustrov trying for Bondra, and it was just tipped wide of the net. Might have gotten a piece off his stick on the deflection. Here's 66, back the other way. Mario Lemieux, Worcester, and Kolzig the save, and Mario almost put the rebound in off his body. Kolzig behind the goal line. Knocks the puck to his defense. Here's Ustorf, who's been rather impressive tonight. Stefan Ustorf, seeing plenty of ice time with all the injuries to Washington. Eric Sharon tries to pinch it in, but Wilkinson slaps it back out for Pittsburgh, and the Caps will fire back inside the zone. Tamer for the Penguins. 5 aside as we approach the 13-minute mark. With time remaining, third period. We point out it's the playoffs, and we point out that's regulation time. The Penguins a 4-3 lead over the Caps. Francis backhands back in, delayed offsides, waved off now as the Penguins had first cleared the zone. Now Washington will try to set it up and get something going. Mike Eagles out at center. Behind the play, looked like Andrew Brunette was taken down, and a penalty is coming up against Pittsburgh. When Zubov touches up, he does, and we get the whistle. Face off to the left of goaltender Tom Barrasso. Pat Peak wins the draw from Peter Nedved. He comes back. This is a power play with Ron Francis in the box. Off for Cote. Cote's shot is saved by Barrasso, but the rebound free, and Peak couldn't get to it in time. Juno looks to be okay. He's back on the ice for this power play. Tried to get it through. Wilkinson, nice job to break it up. Smolinski, though, can't clear. Let's see if it costs him. Here's Burnett down deep. The man Ron Francis interfered with to give Washington the power play in the first place. Right in front, a shot, they score! Sergei Gonchar, power play goal, and it's a 4-4 hockey game.
Well, finally, they get a power play goal without actually taking a penalty on their own power play. Nobody but nobody in white picked up Sergei Gonchar. He just split the seas coming through the middle, and what a job down low by the forwards, including Burnett in behind the net. That's him battling for the puck. He wins the battle. A blind one out in front, and kabang. Not much chance for Barrasso to adjust, and Sergei Gonchar, who led the entire Caps D-Corps in scoring during the regular season with 15 goals and 41 points, scores a big one here to tie this hockey game on the power play. Two of their defensemen have scored in this hockey game. They get offense from the defense. They've done a nice job in their own zone. Hey, if I'm the Washington Capitals, if I'm Jim Schoenfeld right now, and I said to myself before the game, if there's 12 minutes left and we're tied with Pittsburgh in their building, I'd be a happy camper. Well, I bet you he's a happy camper right now.
He's got to be happy about the fact that it's the first goal in 36 straight playoff chances dating back to last year's playoffs against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That's one streak Shoney no longer has to worry about. And look, after being devastated, down 2-0, maybe taking the earliest timeout in playoff history, the Capitals have roared back with that work ethic and the heart that they have to have because they don't have the skill and the talent that Pittsburgh has.
Yeah, well, it's part that, and to me, it's some sloppiness and some inability to do the little things by the Penguins that has allowed Washington to continually jump back in the hockey game.
Gonchar from Brunette and Juno at 7:58 on the power play. We got a brand new hockey game, 11:53 to go. It's been a good one from Pittsburgh. Glad you could be with us here on ESPN2 tonight. Penguins clear the zone. Now trying to move out. Here's Mario. Here's Lemieux. Trying to get to his forehand. Was checked off the play. Crowd roaring for a penalty, but it looked like a good defensive play from here. And now we get the whistle with the puck underneath Tomas Sandstrom.
Well,
great
I
action.
think the captain of the Penguins, that's one of those stares, and he's looking right at Koharski. That's not a penalty?
That's a good look.
Please. Oh, if looks could kill.
Wow.
Tonight's referee would be embalmed right now. Watch this. Watch the feet of Cote coming back. He keeps him moving for the most part. He shifts him a little bit. Pretty good case for a penalty if you're the Penguins.
Yeah.
There was a hook in there somewheres along the way. And the thing that a lot of people talk about is, okay, you might let that one go in the neutral zone, but since it was a scoring opportunity, you have to call it. And I agree with that.
And at home, and at 66. He usually gets those calls. Not in this one right now. That was a great stare, great look at Mario Lemieux. Boy, how'd you like to be on the receiving end of that look?
Daggers.
No, thank you. Face off to the left, deep inside the Washington zone. Again, it is Olaf Kolzig in goal. And Kolzig will stick aside that point shot from Dmitry Muradov, an easy one. Tenorti coming away with it on his backhand. Judo gets it out to center. As the Capitals throw in, Tom Barrasso flicks it around the boards and out of the zone. Gonchar fires right back in. Eagles takes the hit. Yager back checking deep inside his own zone. Juno forcing the play, and so are the Washington Capitals now forcing the play.
Yeah, dump and bump is pretty much their game right now. Try to get it in deep and get in on this defense and have their faces up against the glass as much as possible and create some of those turnovers. They're doing a nice job of it.
You see the confidence building throughout the game? Right from the goaltender on out. And the goaltender is Olaf Kolzig. Jim Carey was pulled after he allowed the fourth goal to Tomas Sandstrom just past the midway point of the second. And since then, it's been all Washington. They've scored 3 unanswered in a 4-4 game. And again, the fans roar for a call.
And again, they won't get one from Don Koharski.
No, they're all wanting the Penguins to get back on their power play, and they're not going to get a chance. A pretty good play down in the corner by the youngster Chiron to do a good job on probably the toughest guy one-on-one to beat in the National Hockey League in Jaromir Jagr. He's letting them play. He wants the two teams to settle this. Little one-on-one action down the wall. Little hook in the middle. Not much, though. They just got their sticks all tangled up, and then he pounced on the puck like a grenade.
Off the face-off, Capitals win the draw and come out. I would think Washington, might have got a couple of breaks there. They have to be extra careful now. Come midway point of this third period. Brunette and Zubov battle. Hunter was tripped up, and that allowed Corey Foster the free lane. Here's Foster out. Nearly offside at the blue line. Let's see. A penalty coming up, and a slashing penalty will be called.
Well, who do you think called this one? This one came from, and they want a little more by the bench. Koharski has to go back and try to get things separated a little bit. But you're right. The seed was planted by not only the Penguins and Mario Lemieux, but probably by the fans a little bit here, too. I'll give Koharski more credit than that, though. Little slash across the line. And
Where was that slash? He's still looking for it, too. Eric Chiron, 2 for slashing at 9:29.
Inside the Washington zone, Chiron 2 for slashing, 9:49, 6th power play for Pittsburgh. They are 1 for 5 on the night. And if they ever needed a power play goal, this would be the spot. In a tie game, 4-4. They have blown a 3-goal lead here at home to the injury-strapped Washington Capitals. Sent down by Tom Barrasso. He will leave there. J.J. Daniel, Ron Francis, Peter Nedved, Jaromir Jagr, and Mario Lemieux. 4 of the best talents in the free and not-so-free world to put on this Pittsburgh power play. Jagr, Lemieux. They battle side by side. Daniel couldn't keep it in. Looked like it bounced up on him and couldn't keep it off his skate.
They're just not sharp right now on their power play at all. Not at all. It's not a 2-minute rest period, and it's not going to happen for you unless you outwork the penalty killers, and they're not doing that right now.
Again, Pittsburgh having problems just getting inside the Washington zone. Nedved will double back with 40 seconds left in the man advantage. Finally, they get it in, and Jagr makes the smart play and throws it in deep. Here's Lemieux. He loses off his skate, and the Caps come out 2-on-2. Pavanka had it sticked away. Zubov forcing the play. Here's Jagr the other way. Off for Lemieux, has a free man in front. Couldn't get it through to him. Sandstrom was tied up. And the puck back out at center. Corey Foster for Pittsburgh. Zubov has forward pens. Back for Foster as Pittsburgh will go to a change. And again, some sloppiness in the neutral zone. Finally, Kevin Miller winds up and moves in. Here's Miller trying to go one-on-one. Got through, and Kolzig, the stick save on the poke check. Tamer's shot's a save by Kolzig. And the Caps get it down. The penalty has expired. Back to 5 aside, therefore the icing call.
You're looking at the look of frustration on some of the power play people for the Penguins. Hey, that's alliteration there. And this is why they've got them bottled up pretty good in the neutral zone. The Penguins have only generated 6 shots now on 6 power plays. Kudos to the Washington Capitals.
They've done a great job keeping them outside. A lot of passes. They've completed a lot of passes on the power play, but haven't wound up with great opportunities.
On that last one, they really didn't get much of a chance to set up in the zone. And the key to their power play, a lot of teams that do well against them, they pick them up in the neutral zone and don't give them time to freewheel in there and then set up. Caps did exactly that.
Hunter threw it in front. A chance to score! Todd Krieger for Washington, and the Capitals out of nowhere have scored 4 unanswered to take a 5-4 lead. Incredible.
Oh, man. What was incredible was the coverage in front of the net. I don't know what the Penguins were thinking or doing. I know what they were doing, and it was absolutely nothing. Watch in front of the net. everyone just ends up watching the puck, standing around. Nobody gets a body, and Krieger's allowed to back off a little bit from Tamer. Wilkinson standing right there, and drilled one up in the attic over top of Barrasso. Watch this in front of the net. It's amazing. I mean, this is playoffs. The one thing you have to do is just find somebody and eliminate them. Look at in front. There goes Krieger. Fends off his man. Tamer shouldn't even be worrying about the puck. He should be worrying about Krieger. He doesn't. And all of a sudden, the Caps have a 5-4 lead. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was 4-1. In case you're just joining us, it was 4-1 in favor of the Penguins. 11-minute mark of the second period. And it's all turned around, 5-4 in favor of the Capitals. We remind you, these are the Penguins, and this one, though, is far from over. Sent inside the Pittsburgh zone. And cleared out to center. It's Krieger from Hunter and Eagles at 12:26. Hunter picking up the assist without one of his gloves. What's EJ telling the boys on the bench right now?
I don't know what he's telling them right now.
Well, thanks for that insight.
Look at the shots, though, that they've given up tonight, creeping up on their average, which is not good. They've given up an awful lot of shots all year long. But it's really not so much the shots tonight as the coverage away from the puck. They've just let people stand around and meander and walk around. You think back to Cote's goal, a blunder there. People were chasing again on the last goal by Krieger. The first goal by Krieger, the same thing again. You have to play well away from the puck in the playoffs. It's not usually the guy with the puck. It's the guy that's going to get the puck that kills you. And that's what has done them in so far tonight.
Pittsburgh Penguins to a man. They were heavily favored in the series. To a man said they would not take the Capitals lightly. I wonder if there wasn't some letdown at 4-1 in this game. Capitals again trying to add to it. Only Kelly Miller because he lost his stick, or else Washington would have had another great opportunity. Jágr in across the line. They need something out of Jaromir here. Jágr spins away. Goes cross ice. The wrister saved by Kozak. He didn't know where it was. And his defense came to his aid, and the Caps come the other way. Mike Eagles throwing it in, but it was offside at the Pittsburgh blue line. Close call for only the goalie down at the other end.
Well, one of the reasons the Washington Capitals are in the playoffs right now, and one of the reasons they're a good team, is that once their goaltender stops the first shot, they have a way of finding the rebounds. Look at how quickly their defense get in on the rebounds in front of their goaltenders. A lot of times they only see one shot. Jim Carey's a great first shot goaltender. Colson had no clue. He looked around and hoped on that one, and he hoped right.
Not to poke fun or anything, but you served as the backup goaltender in a number of NHL games, certainly a number of playoff games as well. I mean, Olaf Kolzig, I want, you think of your mental preparation for a backup goaltender. You probably figure there's no way he gets into this game, but I guess you can't think that way.
No, you have to be a pro and really prepare yourself for anything, and especially at this time of year. You don't want to be unprepared for the Stanley Cup playoffs.
And Kolzig has been good when he's been tested. Since replacing Jim Carey just past the midway point of that second period. Again, the Caps are taking the body, cleaning up the players, and cleaning up the puck. Back out to center ice. Under 6 to go. Regulation.
Some nice plays in the offensive zones, but through the middle, that
credits in time. Washington, a 5-4 lead over Pittsburgh. Here's a chance. Murray rifled it wide. Now it comes in front. Smolinski couldn't get to it. Wilkinson fires wide of the net. Bondra, the only player in the area, and he picks it up for Washington and gets it out to center.
I think perhaps Kolzig might have got a piece of that, too. He's going to have to make some good saves down the stretch here. By no means are the Penguins just going to sit back and hope for a chance. They're going to create chances.
Here's a chance for Ustorf breaking in. That shot's a save by Barrasso. Still looks confident. Came way out to cut down the angle. 66 the other way. Good defensive play. Broken up at that Washington blue line. Here's Pavanka trying to make the move. He's hit at the line. And it's back out at neutral ice. Olaf Kolzig had faced 9 shots, stopped them all so far since he replaced Jim Carey. Under 5 to go in this third. 5-4, the Caps lead. Washington going to go into a defensive shell here?
Well, they really play a defensive style anyway. They don't really have, they don't have to go into a style. It's just their style all the time. And a lot of times, if you play well defensively, it'll generate some chances the other way, and that's happened tonight.
Here's a chance from the bad angle, but it's thrown wide by Andrew Brunette. Ustorf on as well. come back out at center. They just content to flip it down and kill some more of that clock. The clock right now here in Pittsburgh is an ally of Washington.
Yeah, you'll look for them now to do a lot of quiet zone dumping. They'll just dump to an area where nobody is, and then they can get in on their forecheck.
Here's Jágr, breaking out the other way. Jaromir on Gonchar, one-on-one, rolls it through the crease. Kolzig got enough of it to keep it out. And the Capitals come out. Here's Gonchar, who's been a standout here in this game, aside from the fact that he also scored the go-ahead goal right now. Brunette throwing the body on Jágr, slows him up at the Pittsburgh blue line. They send back in. Well, a few times the crowd has gotten into it here tonight in Pittsburgh, trying to get their pens rolling. They get the great equalizer. Here's Jágr on his backhand, throws to the front of the net. Smolinski couldn't get his stick down on the ice. Jágr checked as the puck approached him. And the Caps come back the other way. Pat Peak tied up momentarily, now flying in on the wing, but Barrasso will help his mates out. Well, not really. Throws it in front. Brunette centered, but the Penguins come away. Here's Glenn Murray, has Mario Lemieux.
See how quickly they get on them in the neutral zone, though. There's no room at all for Lemieux, for Jágr, for any of their offensive players to get the puck and then do something with it. They have to do something right away. Credit the Caps. Game plan.
3 minutes left. Sandstrom had it just roll off his stick. Nedved trying to get at it. Lemieux behind the net takes the body and keeps the puck. Mario in front. Nedved missed it somehow and was clean from behind. Crowd wants a call, won't get it. Peter Nedved took 2 shots. One he shot high and wide, and the other shot he took in the back. Here's a look at Mario Lemieux resting up for 1, maybe 2 final shifts, at least in regulation. Off the face, they win. Here's Jágr looking to set up the play, and a good check by Kelly Miller takes his man out and down. Zubov back at center, fires right back in. He's hit by Eagles. Caps are really finishing their checks and punishing here in the third. Tamer tried to take a whack at it, but Juneau able to knock it out, and it goes into the Penguin bench with 2:28 to go in the third. White knuckle time here in Pittsburgh.
Oh, it really is, and they haven't earned it tonight. Really, the Penguins have not earned a lead, and they don't have one right now. The Caps are up by 1, and now they're going to try to play 3 minutes of desperate hockey and at least tie this thing and get a chance in overtime. They're probably so arrogant on that bench as far as their offense is concerned that they think they can win it with just a couple of shots. They've said that before. They can get down by 3 goals, and they're only 3 shots away from tying it.
Shots on goal tonight. Washington has been leading in shots on goal all night. It's only been lately that they've been leading in goals. And they have a 5-4 lead. Todd Krieger has the go-ahead goal, a pair for him tonight, the former Mighty Duck of Anaheim. Pittsburgh inside the zone now. They try to set it up. Jágr, the puck knocked off his stick. Zubov spinning away from the Czechoslovakia. These are desperate times now in game 1 of the playoffs. Backhand shot. Kolzig the save. And clears the rebound of the corner himself. Tenorti working the body side of the net. Jágr comes away with it. Tries to spin away from Gonchar. Spins and loses, though. And the Caps come away. Peter Bondra. Bondra 1-on-2. Trying to split the defense. He's taken out, but the puck rolls deep into the corner. More time ticks off the clock. You see the time remaining. Third period. In what would be a tremendous and surprising win by the Capitals, considering all the situations they've been through. Here's Kelly Miller trying to break in. Miller staying in the corner and be content just to keep the puck along the wall.
Just keep kicking it along the fence and keep the clock running. Boy, they're really playing well away from the puck and supporting the puck, the Caps that is, and it's frustrated the Penguins. You can see it down at ice level. They haven't gotten the calls from Koharski, and they haven't gotten the ice from the Caps.
Miller battling Eagles and Miller, and that's the first time we've seen both Millers get together. A brief bump, Kelly and Kevin, the 2 brothers. J.J. Daigneault, he didn't cross the red line. Big break for Washington. Bad play by the veteran Daigneault. The icing brings it down the other end.
Well, you just add another one on top. They haven't played smart hockey tonight. The Penguins have not played with their heads very often. They've tried stuff that it looked like wasn't going to work, but they kept going back to the well again and again, and it just wasn't happening for them. And they're looking at 56 seconds away from losing another game 1 against the Washington Capitals. A lot of heat will be on that man. It already is. They had a sloppy finish to the regular season. And everybody pointed at him, at Eddie Johnson, the coach, and said that, you know, you're not whipping the boys. You're not making them play. You're not making them playoff ready. And they haven't looked it here tonight.
I can't understand that, you know, J.J. Daigneault is interesting. We have a Pittsburgh timeout. Washington used their timeout about 57 minutes ago, 3 minutes into this game when they were trailing 2-0. They've since come all the way back and lead 5-4. J.J. Daigneault, the veteran, you're talking about one more step.
Oh, I know.
And it's not up.
You know, a few years ago, all I used to do, like you say, is take an extra step, and then they get all the pressure in on the zone, and away you go.
You can even think about pulling your goaltender at that point, but now...
Well, they had Barrasso leaving.
Right, 56 seconds left. You got to bring it all the way down to the Pittsburgh net, and that means Barrasso will be hanging around for a few more seconds.
He'll go to the top of the circles. Lost in all this is the story of Ole, the goalie, Ole Kolzig, who came in and replaced Jim Carey and has really played well. He's come up with some key saves for them. And then it brings up the dilemma for Coach Schoenfeld. Who do you start in game 2?
We'll find out. Gotta believe he goes back to Jim Carey, though, right?
I would think so.
At least one more time.
But it's fun to pretend.
Immediately following the game, the NHL tonight, Pito, Barry Melrose, they're standing by. Has the playoff, is it just me, or has the playoff action throughout the league been already fantastic?
Yeah, I always say...
Great games last night and here tonight.
Yeah, the first round is usually the most exciting until you get to the finals, as far as I'm concerned, because you have upsets.
There's Juneau again, off the face, took a shot on goal, slapped at it. We said that wasn't supposed to happen more than one time in a night. Not supposed to fall for that again. Back out at center. Precious seconds ticking away. You see the time remaining in the third. The Penguins at home are down by 1. They have squandered a 4-1 lead and now looking to only tie and force overtime. Lemieux being banged around the boards by 2 Capitals. Zubov has cross-ice shot, saved by Kolzig. It deflects high off the glass. Caps get to it. Side of the net. Muratov's shot was blocked at the defense. Caps will get to it and clear. Barrasso is out. The Pittsburgh net is empty. Juneau crosses center. Didn't want to be called for icing, but his shot was blocked by Miranov and never made it through. Here's another chance. Here's Juneau. Off for Pavanka, who scores! Michael Pavanka! The Capitals go up 6-4, and Washington will take a 1-game-to-none lead in this best-of-7 series. What an effort by the Capitals tonight.
5 in a row. Man, I mean, this task at the beginning of this game looked Herculean for the Washington Capitals to try to overcome all the injuries, try to overcome all the offense of the guys in white, and they've done both. They've shut them down for the most part. People are heading for the exits here in a hurry as their club has just lost game 1 again.
They look, the Penguins, that shot of the Penguin, but they look dazed and confused, like they don't know what just hit them.
I don't think they do. They were very frustrated, and sometimes teams that have had a lot of success at one style of play, it's tough to adjust. You can't do it. It's not like a faucet. You can't turn it on and turn it off and all of a sudden say, well, we're going to clamp down, do the little things in the playoffs if you didn't do it in the weeks prior to the playoffs, and they didn't.
Less than 5 seconds left. You'll see the same 2 teams. Game 2 of this series over on ESPN Classic. That's on Friday night. Game 2 right back here at the Igloo in Pittsburgh. How about that? The Pittsburgh Penguins up 4-1 just past the midway point of this game. They lose at home to an undermanned Washington Capitals squad. The Capitals win 6-4.
Well, I think the key to this whole thing happened in the neutral zone, and it was exactly what Jim Schoenfeld harped about this morning. Take the ice away from their stars. They did that. It was a rough game for all the big names. Nedved got them off to a great start, but after that, you can't really think of too many players having that much in the way of open ice in the neutral zone or in the offensive zone. Whenever they had to, they came up with some saves. Kolzig came in and played very, very well in goal for them. That was a gutsy effort.
Terrific game, all around good game, entertaining hockey game. You wonder the psychological effects coming out of this one for both clubs heading into game 2. The final tonight, the Washington Capitals. They beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 6-4.